Hey guys, welcome back to Ono's Fish Corner. We're going to continue on subject with electrical safety in the fish room. Stand by, guys. We're going to continue from yesterday's video talking about electrical safety in the fish room, which is a subject I think is pretty important and something that we may not take into account for while we are doing our hobby. And as everyone knows, electricity and water does not mix very well. So whenever you're building your fish room or upgrading things in your fish room, take that into account. Now, when I built my walls for my corner, I did things a little bit different. So what I did was, like I said in the previous video, I had one electrical outlet in the back, which is about standard off the floor. I can't really remember exactly what the measurement is, but 16 to 18 inches off the floor. So that puts everything under fish tanks, usually. So what is normal, the normal recommendation out there is if you have an outlet below your fish tanks or whatever, to put a water loop in it or a water drip loop in it. So what you want to do is, you don't want a cord to be stretched from the outlet to the top of the tank, or let's say your heater. Let's say your heater has a short plug on it, and you plug from the receptacle to your tank, and it's a straight shot down to your receptacle. That's a no-no. So what'll happen is moisture will start to, over time, trickle down and straight into the outlet, which will cause problems, which could cause electrical fires and stuff like that. And we do not want that. We do not want that in any aspect of this hobby. If it's a single tank or if it's multiple tanks, if it's in your home, you do not want a fire, right? So normal, I guess, fish keeping 101 is to make sure that there is a loop in that cord. So you plug, like, let's say your plug, and you want to loop that back up and make sure that if water runs down, then it can't come back up and into the plug. It's going to run down and it's going to drip off, right? So highly recommend that. I also recommend changing out your plugs to GFCI. Anyway, you'll see them in bathrooms. They have it's kind of a breaker on the switch itself and not to into your whole system. So if something happens to the plug, it pops that little breaker out, and then you push it back in, and it contacts. It creates contacts in there, or it has contacts in there and creates the loop through the plug. So how do we do that? Good question. Of course, from yesterday's video, you want to make sure that you're on your right loop. You want to go to your breaker box and you want to flip that breaker off. And then always test it. Test it with something. Test it with a squeaker or a tattletale or a multimeter. Multimeter is always best. It's going to actually tell you exactly what is going on with it. Now, the squeaker or the tattletale or whatever you want to call the thing will tell you if there is power to it. That's all it's going to tell you. So We've hit our breaker, we've turned it off. Pull the cover, pull the plug out, and of course you're going to have wires, you know, into the back of your normal plug, right? Pull that off, and then you're going to go back with your GFCI plug, right? So how do you know? There's nothing on here. There's nothing on here that tells you that this is positive, this is negative, this is ground. So how do I know? Good question. I'm glad you asked. If you look at these plugs, you have a gold side, you have a silver side, right? Can you tell that? Gold, silver. Okay. Gold, you're always going to have your positive connection. Your silver is your neutral. And then, of course, green down here is going to be your ground. Okay. Got it. Well, why is my wire black, white, and there's one that doesn't have a coating on it? Glad you asked that question. In most commercial or residential buildings, your wire code or your wire colors are black, white, and ground. No coating or green is going to be your ground. Black and white. Let's talk about black and white. Black is positive. Black is your I'm not real sure why the electrical side is like that. I'm from the electronic side, so we have a little different color variations and everything like that. So this was something that tripped me up the first time, second time, third time I saw it. So white is neutral, black is your positive. So like I said before, black will go to your gold, white will go to your silver, which is neutral, and then of course ground. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I know that even if you do have a little bit of knowledge in electrical or electronics, in electronics stuff is a little different. So I wanted to bring that up. And the plugs are not hard. They're really not hard. All you want to do is shut down your electrical, shut down your power, trip that breaker, and test it. Always test. Always test. And then, super simple to connect your plugs after that. All right, guys. I think that's enough on this subject for now. If you have anything, if I skipped anything, or if you have any suggestions or something that you want me to touch on, let me know in the comments below. And of course, hit that I can think of right now, guys. I really appreciate you stopping by. I really appreciate you hanging out, and leave a comment on what you think. Be careful. We'll talk to you guys later.